and welcome to Wealth Management Forward. I'm your host, Rory Henry, Director at Arrowroot Family Office. I'm with Rob Santos, CEO of Arrowroot Family Office. Rob, how you doing today?
Good, Rory. How are you?
Great. Thank you for asking. So today we're going to talk about a family office. I know we've been talking about holistic financial advice, and I wanted to give our audience a little perspective on our modern family office, what we do here, maybe historically what a family office was. So if you can dive in and touch on what a family office is and where we're at.
Sure. So traditionally, a family office was really for folks, with $1 billion under management, or they were for single families. Or it could be extended families or some families that may have had some kind of union in business. So, going back in history, the Rockefellers, one of the most famous family office. The Rockefellers actually sold the brand to Rockefeller Family Office, which is, I believe, managing capital today. The former head of Morgan Stanley now runs that, but that was in the 1800s. J.P. Morgan, Carnegie, these kind of men of and women of industry was really historically the way it's been. In modern times, there were a lot of reasons why the ultra high net worth folks would start a family office, and the first would be cost. These were, many of them, business people. And so looking at digging into the absolute costs that they were paying to do all of these services, they discovered, lo and behold, that they could hire a few people in-house, or a lot of people in-house, and have more control and be at lower cost. And they could really tailor what their family office was going to perform for them, as opposed to going through a traditional financial institution. Secondarily, a lot of the traditional financial institutions were set up to do very specific things. So could be stock houses or bond houses. Some of that may be insurance or lending. And so the large institutions weren't really focused so much on this kind of holistic wealth management side. The private banker may have been the thing that was the closest historically. And that could have been from a commercial bank or from one of the investment banks. But that was really seen as a concierge service. It wasn't a way for the bank to make money. It was really try to make sure your clients are happy. They need, seats at the Super Bowl, or they need to get into the best restaurant, or they need lending.
Bon Jovi tickets.
Yeah, Bon Jovi tickets. They need lending in Zurich, and they need that figured out. It wasn't a profit center so much on the private banking side.
Concierge service.
It was really concierge services. Fast forward to today, and what's really exciting for us is that through this forward-facing software and technological revolution, which we're living through, has allowed firms to be able to do exactly what the initial family offices were doing, which is, look at what the needs of the family are and look at it from a holistic manner, and then be able to tailor those services and that advice to be much more cost effective than trying to, go to a single provider at each place, negotiate amongst all of the different types of people, and then constantly have to be looking at each one of those providers and seeing if that fits with what your needs may be. Today, because of software technology and really future-facing practices, you can be able to assemble very similar family office services as some of the very ultra high net worth families traditionally were only able to access. And so, that's what we do here at Air Family Office. We think it's a democratization of financial services. We truly believe that not just the ultra high net worth folks should be able to have access to thoughtful financial services done in a cost effective manner and in a technologically optimized way. And so, that's what the family office of today and the future really is looking to be.
Yes, what I think I'm hearing from you, Rob, is that holistic financial advice is something that the family office historically has adopted on managing these families' assets. It's something that now is available through technology to maybe the average client.
Absolutely. And to the accounting firms that we're talking to. So, the idea of family office services is something that accounting firms can adopt and define in a way that makes them feel comfortable. So that could include accounting, which they're already doing, and the compliance work, which they're already doing. As we've discussed in previous episodes, that could also include financial planning. That could include insurance, corporate retirement plans, estate planning, annuity analysis. So a lot of these other things are available for firms and for clients to start to utilize the family office model and define it in a way that makes sense for them.
And why do you think accounting firms are maybe best positioned to adopt this family office model compared to maybe some other professional services, Rob?
So we've talked about it before, Rory, but accountants and your general practice doctor and maybe your priest or your rabbi know you the best, right?
The most trusted advisor, right?
The most trusted advisors. And so we think that data is right at accountants' fingertips, and that provides a tremendous opportunity for them to convert that into revenue producing services that would be included in a family office definition.
Can you provide an example of utilizing technology to supply some of these holistic services or these family office services that we do?
Absolutely. So, one aspect that has been really exciting in the last few years is the access to some software providers and service providers in the estate planning world. So we've talked about this in I think one of our first episodes, which is estate planning is one of those areas that folks have a really hard time focusing on getting done and can be pretty costly. We've utilized a few software providers that have a single low fee for a simple trust and will. It can be done online and filled out in the privacy of their home, and then also have a consultation with an estate planning attorney in their particular state, which has been a big hurdle for a lot of folks, accounting firms that maybe have clients in multiple states. If you had someone in North Carolina and you were a California-based firm and they came to you with the need of setting up an estate plan, you'd have to go to the Yellow Pages or Google or wherever and try to build a relationship, try to figure out who's reputable to send that relationship. Well, some of these services will vet that for you, again, under that fiduciary standard, and also have a platform which is much more user-friendly. So we've adopted that into our process, our family office process. And what that has done for us, one, it's allowed us to be that central point of trusted resource for that family and their needs. Two is we've seen a much higher success rate of our clients actually instituting estate plans, which is fantastic, a dramatic increase in completion and timeliness. And third is that in some of these instances, you can charge to help them to be able to formulate some of these ideas. Again, not representing yourself as an attorney. We never want to represent or over-represent who we are and our capabilities. But, gathering of information, helping to put some of that information into the interface, annually updating that information to make sure that it's accurate. These are things that can very easily be instituted and rightfully should be charged for.
Yes, and I think this goes into tax planning as well too. So that's just one entry point that you can use to start implementing a tax planning strategy for accounting firms.
I absolutely agree. And if there's any type of entities out there that are the best suited to adopt this family office holistic model, it is wealth management firms and accounting firms. And we really think that's the future of financial advice.
All right, Robin, let me ask you this. How are other industries also trying to incorporate this family office model?
Absolutely. So it will be surprising to you and to a lot of folks, I think, that there are multiple industries that are really accelerating towards this goal of providing holistic financial advice in a timely and efficient and cost-effective manner. We've spoken about accounting firms that have partnered up or acquired or merged with wealth management firms. That's been a very successful model, just incorporating two aspects of the holistic picture. Wealth management firms equally on the other side, partnering with or acquiring or merging with accounting firms. And those are just two aspects.
But I know there's insurance companies having their agents become financial planners as well.
Absolutely. And so, from the traditional finance service provider aspect, everyone is really racing towards finding ways to really find ownership of that client relationship, which is the most valuable thing. But other industries are racing towards that as well. We've talked about technology. Two that we can bring up that everyone will recognize are Amazon and Apple. So the creation of artificial intelligence such as Alexa or Siri, and Alexa probably heard me. She might turn on the music here in a second. But right now, today, if you ask either one of those artificial intelligence computers, they're very efficient in creating tasks, reminders. They're almost to the point of being able to provide advice. And there's a lot of people in the technology and software world that are working around artificial intelligence to provide some of this logical advice. And again, utilizing that trust pyramid, but implementing it through a computer brain, which is exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yes.
So those are just two examples, and you can see the amount of value that the consumers that use just those two products could bring if they're able to crack that nut. So you're seeing that from all kinds of different aspects in different industries.
All right, and Rob, why don't you touch on the fact that an accounting professional is, so close to a client and that relationship that I think I want to have you talk about how maybe that's easier for them to start adopting these services.
Absolutely. So using the two examples I just used of two very scary competitors that are coming to this market, Apple and Amazon, they don't have your financial information. A lot of people are very wary of these large enterprises having their information and don't want it. We don't want them to have access to it. Accountants, again, are those trusted advisors that have access to that data and also have built that trust that the client can understand that they're acting in their best interest. And it also provides a window into a very comprehensive and sophisticated life that a client leads. And no matter how good the technology is or the software is, it really can't sit down and have that empathy, that third level of the trust pyramid. it hasn't cracked that yet. Alexa's not going to know what I just went through if I just lost a loved one, or my child is contemplating going to college or maybe not, or if we're going to move to Denmark and what kind of tax consequences that may be, understanding all the various things that are going on in my financial life. Those are not just sophisticated problems, but they're human problems.
They're human problems, yeah.
And
just
so,
as much as you don't want Alexa necessarily having that bedside manner, you still want that doctor that you can.
Absolutely. You want to be able to sit down on the opposite end of someone that will listen completely and be able to have a human touch to understand exactly what may be in your best interest.
If you're an accounting firm and you're looking at this family office model, can you go into, Rob, the technology that we spoke about, but you don't necessarily have to have one professional strategic partnership with each of the family office arms. Maybe you can go into, you can utilize technology, you can do a mix of partnerships with people and technology. So let's go into how you can construct this family office model if you're an accounting firm.
Absolutely. So all of these different service offerings that we've talked about that might be involved with family offices, and we've touched on insurance or estate planning or corporate retirement or traditional wealth management or tax advisory. The opportunity that accountants have today in incorporating this family office process is that they can build it the way that they feel comfortable. And that doesn't mean, as you just said, you have to use a single provider for everything, or that you have to provide one type of service that you don't really feel comfortable speaking to, and it's not really an area that you think your clients are interested in, nor do you have any interest in being able to offer it. What we suggest is, look at the client assessment, which we've talked about, come up with some ideas about what's the lowest hanging fruit of service that really speaks to you and to your clients, and then get started. And as you start to build that team may include software, that may include a professional, that may include some different professionals. One example that we bring up a lot are people that live in different regions of the country. So what we found through our family office model is, and this won't be surprising to most folks, people that live in New York want to deal with accountants in New York. And people that live in Florida or North Carolina or California, they want to deal with somebody there. And they also want to deal with somebody that has an insight to their world. Again, that empathy line, we've been really talking a lot about that, but it's enormously important. So, you could build a team that speaks to different types of clients and their different needs. The second example, which we're seeing a lot of this, especially after and during COVID, is the virtual family office. Rory, you and I were just doing some Googling, and we can see who else is doing some stuff out there. And we've seen other firms that are bringing this model of virtual family office, which may include nothing but software solutions, or software solutions with a single professional. So there's a lot of people that are doing very creative things out there around this model. And that may be a little daunting to some, but we think that's a tremendous opportunity for people to get started. And the barrier to entry to start adopting this has never been lower for people to get started.
And the goal is obviously to provide the optimal service to the client. And that's really what the client would like, is that one-stop shop in a family office, not just for high net worth families, but for families with all net worth.
Absolutely. We're talking about the democratization of family offices here for folks that have traditionally lower net worth. But the other opportunity is now you are going to be much more competitive to be able to service higher net worth clients, bigger clients. I'll tell you, this model is fantastic for efficiency. We've talked about that because You're leveraging other people to help you do some of the work that you may need, and vice versa, and you're increasing your revenue. But also, we've also seen that the number one way to get new clients is having happy current clients. And so, if you're involved in this new family office structure and you can do a good job, again, not with all of it, just with a few aspects of it, you will see an increased inbound lead from your clients telling other people about it. There's never been better marketing than word of mouth from happy clients.
So I think what we stress here, we stress it through our other episodes, is just starting small, just getting started. 1, 2, starting small with one of those services, and then that'll snowball into providing more family office services.
Absolutely. And I would also add to that, Rory, number 1, not being frightened. Forward facing means that we're facing it, right? There are certainly challenges. There's realities of the current marketplace, and in our conversations with accountants, over the years, is that a lot of them really prefer not to do that because it's scary. And what we're trying to say is there's ways to make that less intimidating, and there's ways to be able to implement some of these things to get some wins on the board, to get started. And we think that a few of those wins will start to accumulate into a much longer forward-facing process that will set you on a path for success.
I agree. I think we were able to demystify the family office, Rob, in this episode.
There we go. May you all turn into Rockefellers in the future. But even if not, everyone deserves to be their own Rockefeller, or put together their own Rockefeller.
It's out there.
It's out there.
All right, Rob. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rory. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.